Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back. It's Sunday, March 13th. I got Allie down. Sorry. We were I just got home 10, 15 minutes ago. We were out at selling off the rest of our Girl Scout cookies. So we sold all but 10 boxes. We're going to throw those up on Facebook and see if other people in the town will buy them, because this is apparently the last day of cookie sales and we did not want that money to be eaten by. So I am. How are you, Allie? I've got you for 2 questions if you want to go ahead and ask them. And then we can just do general readings. I don't know if anybody else is going to show up because it's Palm Sunday. I know some people celebrate that. And our, spring break here for us. So what do you got? What's your questions? How can I deal with my parents who don't get along? Hi, Regine. How are you? My week was pretty good. It was just a little busy. My mom's in town. So it's kind of busier when one of my daughters had half days almost every single day, except for like Monday. And then we were on spring break. And then my mom came in town. So good, but busy. How was your week? My mom keeps getting sick. She suffers from a lot of anxiety. She spends a lot of money going to the doctor and doesn't seem to be getting better. She's been dealing with all this for years, and honestly, I'm not sure what she has. Okay, so what's your question? The first question. Hi, Rathka. How are you? I'm sorry I didn't respond to your thing. I think it was late, and I read it, and then since my mom's in town, my kids go to bed really late. They're super wired. And so they went to bed super late. I was hiding from them, I think, when I was texting you. How can you deal with your parents who don't get along? So I don't know that this is even psychic. This is just and then I'm going to go into the psychic part of it. Hi, Mallory. Oh my goodness, it's been so long. How are you? Okay, so just get my comfort rock. Okay, so this isn't the psychic part. I'll look into it energetically. I just wanted to say this. Hi, Elaine. These aren't free readings. They're $12 a question, which is super duper cheap. And especially I have 16 years of experience doing readings professionally. But I take 30% of the $12 and I still donate it. I don't ask you to donate any extra. I donate to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. I will, hang on, link the payment here. And I'll pin it. So if you want to pay, that'd be great. And if not, you can just hang out. We do at the end, which is not paid for, which are free, is when I do general questions around if you guys have questions about what's going on with the environment or government or whatever celebrity thingy you want to ask about. And then I don't love celebrity questions, but I'll do them. That way, you'll still get something out of it, but I don't mind doing those for free because I feel like everybody can benefit from those. But when it's an individual stuff, I prefer, because then I'm tapping into your energy personally. You're worried about that in the future? Okay, so this is what I want to say about your parents, Allie, quick. I'm still wearing, I didn't even change out of my, I wore this because it was chilly out. Regine, I got your payment. So I'm wearing a long underwear shirt and I didn't even change to look. So I'm going to be probably too warm here. Okay. Okay. So whether or not they get along with each other is not you have individual relationships with each of them. That said, if they're not getting along with each other and they triangulate and use you and put you in the middle of it, that's another thing. And you're a grown up now. You are not an infant. And so it's okay for you to set boundaries and say to them, and this might be a little jarring when they first hear it. Hey, I don't want to be in the middle of this. That's not fair. Don't put me in the middle. And then you just walk away and you let them deal with their problems. I know it's really hard to do that at first, but and it doesn't make you a bad person or an uncaring person or an unloving person. You are loving yourself and putting yourself first and the healthiness of your relationship with each of them individually and saying, leave me out. Let them deal with each other. They're whole grown adults, maybe not mentally, but really and truly, they some people won't actually face their own stuff until they are actually forced to do it. And as long as you're willing to be in the middle and not set boundaries, they're going to keep using you that way. I think a big part of our lessons in life, at least one for me is, and maybe others, is learning boundaries and learning to set healthy boundaries and know that setting your own healthy boundaries, whatever that may be, doesn't make you a bad person or an unloving person or an unkind person. It makes you healthy. That said, let's look at what else I get from that. Hang on. I'm going to reread the question. Oh, I was like, immediately I get your mom guilt trips you a lot. I feel like she makes you feel bad a lot and sort of more emotionally manipulates you in order to give in. Your dad is emotionally checked out. I just feel he's very indifferent, sort of apathetic to everything. Well, there's nothing for you to do to mend their relationship or make sure everything is okay with them. Just because you're an adult now doesn't mean that's your responsibility. And then when you said something about we don't know what to do with them in the future, if that's like that, again, that's not your responsibility. This idea that when you see people say how could they do that to their family members? It's well, because at some point, people who are acting and behaving in ways that are less than amazing, that's not even the way I want to say abusive, right? Manipulative, emotionally, physically abusive, whatever. Or when they're not taking care of themselves and making choices not to take care of themselves, it's not your responsibility to take care of them. So I've talked about this a lot. I have a sister who's very unwell. She watches these. I have her blog. She can't comment whenever she's confused why that happens. But, it's not everybody's responsibility to take care of her. She's almost 50 years old. She'll be 50 this year. She needs to, deal with herself. And it's by the time somebody is willing to say I need to step away from this, because it's usually because they've gone through so much abuse that they're not willing to continually put themselves out there and drown themselves so that person will probably drown along with them. They'll just suck the life out of you. So when you say that, she talks about losing her parent, you can listen. Here's the thing. You can be there for somebody. Mm-hmm. You can listen to them. You can be emotionally supportive of them, but emotionally supporting them is not the same thing as drowning along with them. And she probably has a lot of unresolved issues, from abandonment, but that still doesn't make you a bad person. And you don't have to be her, you were probably parentified as a kid. You don't have to be her whole everything. So I guess maybe I come from a different school of life where I think you are of no use to anybody else if you are just completely deflated and dehydrated of life because somebody else refused to step up and deal with their own stuff. And that's not your requirement in life. And so the idea when people say like, why doesn't the family member do for things? Well, either you're lucky enough and you've never, ever, ever had to have an involvement with a very unhealthy, unwell person, or somebody who's narcissistic or sociopathic or psychopathic or whatever. You've never been in relationship with somebody like that. So, bless you, dear, for not having to deal with that. But when you're dealing with people who are, and I'm not saying your mom is any of these things, but when you're dealing with people who are mentally unwell and they refuse to or they've gone through a lot of trauma on their own and they refuse to it's okay to acknowledge that trauma and say hey, that sucks. And maybe it's time to get her a book, read a book on dealing with some of this, how it affects your body long term when you don't deal with trauma. I have a friend who just recently lost her brother, who's friends with the whole. Well, I grew up knowing all of the kids, and her younger brother was younger than me. She has a brother who's my age, and there was a lot of stuff around his passing, and I just said at some point, it's not your responsibility. And I also said to her, I was like, you saw something very traumatic, and you need, it might be good to go look for trauma therapy and deal with that now, because it does stay in your body. You're always put in the middle. Okay. You feel like you can get away. Okay. So here's what you say. I love you both very much. And it is no, I'm setting a limit now, because it's not fair to me to have to be in the middle. I love you both so much. And now I'm stepping away from being in the middle. I don't want to be in the middle of your arguments and your disagreements anymore. Your mom, I feel like it's so much your mom. Your mom probably triangulates a lot and says, but to your dad, well, she thinks this, don't you think that? She thinks that, don't you think that? You agree with me, don't you? And so it's like, be on my team. But you know what? They're grown-ups. They don't really need teams. They can handle their own opinions and emotions themselves. It's your mom. And a lot of that comes from the stuff that she grew up with. And probably not learning, when you're looking for outside validation, not learning how to get that validation from within herself. Hi, KK. I was telling them I had to be a little bit later, and I'm still wearing we were selling off the rest of our Girl Scout cookies because we had 80 boxes left. We sold all but 10, which was fabulous. Well, we are out doing that. I just got home about 10 minutes before I was supposed to go live. So I didn't want our troop to get, Marge, who's my co-troop leader, she was like, I signed us up for the last word. I was like, great, we'll be there. So it was just, we had one of those things where you're like, I don't want the troop to get stuck with the cost of this. And then just stuck with all those boxes of cookies. We already have way too many boxes. Yeah. So with your mom, it's just it takes a bit of bravery, and sometimes being brave is scary, right? It does it. And it's going to feel uncomfortable. When you first start setting boundaries, it's really uncomfortable, especially when you've had no boundaries, especially with people who clearly desperately need boundaries set for them. I know with my mom at a point, because she was, I'm her person, and I'm one of the only people, she has to vent to. She's very private. She was venting to me about my sisters. And I finally said, I cut them off because I don't want, and she at the time was still communicating with me. I was like, I don't want anything to do with them anymore. So I love you very much. I will give you 10 minutes to vent. And then I don't want to talk about them again, because otherwise, why am I cutting them off if then I just get in this cyclical conversation all the time where it's nothing changes. Their behavior stays the same. You're frustrated by it. You need to deal with them the way you need to deal with them. But I am done. Sometimes you think your mom is not all that bright. I'm not sure what she's trying to get away with. I don't know that it's necessarily not bright. I oftentimes, to me, they're saying she's emotionally stunted at about 10 years old. So that's a 4th or 5th grader emotionally. I'm not saying cognitively. Yeah, I really appreciate what you're telling. Oh, I'm glad. I just think it's really hard when you first start setting boundaries. It took me, I still feel uncomfortable with something. I still see places where I'm like, oh, I should have set that boundary and I didn't. It's a work in progress. It's not something, just like any other skill you acquire, whether it's learning to ice skate or learning a new instrument or learning a new language. Like it takes practice and it takes time, and you don't get really good at it until you've been doing it for a while. So like the idea that you're supposed to all of a sudden be like, oh, when people are like, learn, you got to set boundaries. It's like, well, like you're just supposed to get that overnight and be comfortable with it and be okay with it. It's just like nothing, but it's a lot of reprogramming, and it feels scary to your body when your brain has to go out of what the normal your subconscious has been programmed to, like, just give in, just do whatever they need to do, make sure they're all happy and comfortable and supported, because then the rest of the house is okay. And I'll minimize myself and whatever my needs are. It doesn't matter how uncomfortable I am, as long as they're okay. I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to make them upset. I don't want to be the bad guy, because I'm not a bad guy. I want to be accepted and loved just as much as they do. Your subconscious brain was functioning on that for a very long time. And so you have to reprogram it, and it starts to go, no. It's like moving out of that track. You have to create the new grooves for the new path, and it just takes time. Let's see, hang on. Sometimes I think my mom was a lot bright. Okay, hang on. You can see why your brother is emotionally stunted at 17. I mean, it happens for, how do you expect, unless somebody makes the conscious decision to be like, okay, I need to work on my own stuff. I need to start looking at, this is why I talk a lot about what follows I am is really important, and looking at your belief systems and where they come from without judgment. Just like, oh, that's interesting. Why would I believe like that I'm not valuable or worthy? Or why would I believe like, or why would I accept bare minimum from people in romantic relationships? Well, you get bare minimum when you're raised, and that sort of is like what you're programmed to do. Does it mean your parents did it intentionally? No, a lot of it's passed on behaviors that they never like understood, knew, or grow. I was talking to my mom this morning about wishing that people had caught on to my own neurodivergence. I don't even remember what it was. Like, I don't know if I was eating something or we were talking about food. I don't remember. And I was like, oh, it was something about eating something when I was a kid. I was like, oh yeah, I would never. That was like, oh, figs. Because I really like fig jam. And I got a different brand of fig jam today. And I was very disappointed because it wasn't as good. And it didn't have the texture like the other one I had. It had like the little seeds in it. It wasn't fully filtered out. And so it just was like, I liked the texture of the little seeds. And I was like, yeah, it would have been nice if like people would have figured out like all, like looking, didn't crawl ever. And I was extremely quiet. I never told on anybody. And I had my moments of really talking, but I would only really talk with people that I was extremely comfortable with. Always been very, very direct and blunt. I just remember always being very observing of like how to behave in the world. And I don't know, just lots of stuff, all of my sensory stuff, all of my weird food quirks. I'm not a foodie. I wanted to try and be a foodie. And now I've just settled on the fact that like I don't really care if I try all the foods in the world. I just don't care. I'll try certain things, but like lamb, like I'm very much about textures. Lamb is terrible. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Just rambling. Things you get to know about me. Like I think lamb is the worst texture in the world. It's like we went to my in-laws for a Passover, not my parents' in-laws, but like in-laws through whatever. And she's a very good cook. And I tried the lamb thing she made once, and I was like, yeah, but it's like, and they're like, and then men were like, it's really good. You should try it. And I was like, I understand that. And the flavors are good, but the texture is not right for me. And it's not a knock on her cooking or anything else. It's just not for me. And it was like, I'm 46 years old. I get to decide if food is okay for me or not. I can say no. What's wrong with you? Anyway, lamb gives you a sore stomach. Yeah, I just don't like the texture. I'm very much about textures. I don't like anything chewy, or like like oysters will never appeal to me. Like escargot, I don't like anything like, if I'm going to eat fish, it cannot be a fishy fish. So I have like zero desire to taste escargot, like at all. Like that's a whole texture thing. No oysters, no clams. Like I don't want anything chewy at all. Oh, yeah, I guess I've never cooked it in my house. I don't like frying food in my house. I remember this because the smell of the hot oil. I was one of the years I was up here for as a travel nurse. I had the biggest apartment. I was like, we can have Thanksgiving at my house. So like four other nurses came over, three other nurses came over, and like one of the girls lived up because we all lived in the same building. And I was like, you have to fry that stuff in your apartment. I don't want my apartment smelling like that. Like I was like, absolutely not. She like looked at me. I was like, sorry. I'm pretty sure I could easily be vegetarian too, honestly, except for I really like birria tacos, so like that's kind of hard. Okay. All right. So Allie, what's your other question? Yeah. Oh, Mallory, you have texture issues too. Yeah, just like no. My grandmother, I watched her, she could eat like gristle and like I pick apart my meat. Like I just no, thank you. Oh, you know what? I think I'm missing some of y'all's. Let me fix that. I saw somebody, hey Katrina, and I didn't see her in here. Your mom keeps getting sick. She suffers from a lot of anxiety. She spends a lot of money. I'm not sure what she has. Hi, Kayla. So, immediately I felt with your mom, I do feel like she probably has some of the like estrogen dominance, histamine issues, but I also think maybe Lyme's. Has she been tested for Lyme's? Because it feels something very inflammatory all over her body. So, Kayla, these are not free. If you'll see, I have a pinned. It's $12 a question, and I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Every dollar that gets donated provides 3 meals, and so like I should add up over all the years I've been doing this how much money we've donated. Like one year I did like almost like $2,600, and last year was like 16. A couple of the years I did way bigger because like there was like a 2-week period for 2 of the shows I donated the entire amount of money. Oh no, it was actually more than that because it was from Thanksgiving to the New Year's that I would donate all of the money, each one of those things. So it was like 5 shows or whatever where I just donated it to the Community Food Bank. But food scarcity is real, and lots of people who are even working still don't have enough. Working full time, sometimes 2 jobs, still don't barely have enough to make ends meet. And I think it's really important to support people. I don't think that anybody should ever make not enough money to eat or to feed their children. I think the system of uber capitalism without any boundaries is fucking stupid, if you ask me. I guess I'm like progressive and socialist and stuff like that. Call me crazy. Like hoarding money and becoming a billionaire helps no one. Like you could still easily live off. I mean, you could still live pretty comfortably on 10 million a year. I don't know. Call me crazy. Like maybe you don't have as much staff. Jeez. Or I don't know, as many homes. Cry me a river. Sorry. And we're not poor. I'm not like I think I grew up poor, and so I will. I don't mind paying taxes. I don't mind money going to services that help others. Okay, hang on. Okay, Mallory, I'll check. She had chronic arrest. I don't know. It might be worth asking because to me it feels very inflammatory and it feels very all over. And I even feel like a lot of my joints, like lots of joint stuff. So it might be worth like looking at if you look up Lyme's disease and look up the symptoms of Lyme's disease. And see if any it fits with what's going on with your mom. Because sorry, I just feel really tight right here. Does she have a really bad tightness like here on the left side of her neck, right near the base of her skull? She get really tight there. That was weird that came up. Yeah, because I get achy, fatiguey. I think the anxiety kind of goes along with it. She'd really benefit from like super eating like really super clean, no processed foods for like 2 weeks, and then reintroducing stuff slowly just to like, she'd be better at 4, but like I think 2 weeks she'd start to feel a little bit better. I don't think it's all diet, but I just feel like there's an inflammatory thing going on in her whole body. I also think, and here's the thing, if she was a man, this would have been figured out a long time ago. Unfortunately, as you know, medicine is insanely misogynistic. And so women get gaslit and kicked around for a long time. She said her leg bothered her, but she always getting panic attacks. And she says that she gets really hungry. I mean, there could be an insulin resistance thing there too. And that can make you feel like, honestly, like your appetite is absolutely insatiable and you can eat more carbs than you could ever imagine and still never feel full. So before I started adding a whole lot of fiber into my diet, I never felt full. I was just like, I could eat like a bottomless pit, honest to God. Even when I was uber thin, I was like a size 0 at a point. I could just eat. And 0 is insane. Nothing should be that small. I was probably also, when I was working and I was that small, I was probably also walking like 30,000 steps a day, the days that I worked. So, okay. That's what I feel. So worth asking if she's been tested for it. Katrina, I got your payment. So hang on, let me just check let me see if I'm logged in on the wrong thing. I think I am. So, all right. I got Regine. Let me see. Gabby. All right. Regine is 1 question, and Mallory for 1, and then Katrina for 1. All right. Oh, I was just saying that medicine is really misogynistic, and if she was a man, that she probably would have been diagnosed a long time ago. Because women just get like, ignored. And I mean, this is just like a complete easy one about this. Was like one that's like so obvious that the guy should have asked. But so I've had 3 babies. I had 3 epidurals. On my 3rd child, with my 3rd epidural, I looked at him and I said, the anesthesiologist, I was like, I don't think you put it in right. It's not in right. And he goes, it's fine. That's the way it's supposed to feel. Didn't ask me how it felt. Didn't ask me what I meant by that. Didn't ask me, hey, have you had one before? How would you know that? He just told me that's how it's supposed to feel. So then, like, when it was time to have her, and I never really ever felt my contractions. Like, I didn't know. I was like 6 centimeters and like 90% or 100% effaced. And like, they were like, how are you? Like, you're laughing and cracking jokes. And I was like, yeah, this is like, but I just didn't want to hurt the process. That's it. And because I believe that if there is medicine that can help you, then you just use that. Anyways, like, why be in pain if you don't have to be? So when it was time, I was like, yeah, it's time. And the resident was like, you still have a little bit, like, it's not time yet. And I said, I beg your pardon. But like, my body said it's time. Like, when you have an epidural that works, your body you can't feel anything. And you just go, okay, sure, I'll wait. So like, and it was his own arrogance and misogyny that like didn't say like, what do you, that didn't stop him to go like, maybe I should ask her what she means by that. Yeah, I think they should check on Lyme disease. That's what I think. If she's been tested for it, or look at the symptoms of it and see if they fit with what she's got going on. And then it would be, I don't know who would do that. You're fuming at your mom's doctor. He was really dismissive of her, and she honestly the strongest woman I know. Not only that, isn't she a farmer? Like, that's like automatically. Like, if someone's coming to complain. So finally, like, after my first I'd had an episiotomy and like a 2nd-degree tear, had them all, but like 5 days after all my stitches came out, I didn't like, I just know that I all of a sudden got a pain and I was like, oh, that hurt. And because I got out of a car to take my daughter to her pediatrician appointment. And like a month later, like I literally sat because I didn't know. I was like, well, having babies is uncomfortable. Like you're going to be uncomfortable sitting for a little bit. And I finally pulled the mirror out because I was like, I was talking to a friend who had her daughter a couple weeks before mine, and I was like, "How long did it take you?" She's like, "Oh, I felt great." In like 2 weeks, I was like, "Yeah, something's not right." So I pulled out a mirror. I was like, "Oh, I have like a gaping wound." Okay. So I messaged. I called my doctor, and she was like, "Do you want me to text you a picture?" She's like, "No, just come in." So then after that, they were all like, "If she complains, you have to listen because she's not a complainer. Like this is not who she is. Like she." And it's true. I will like tolerate all kinds of crap. Anyway, so that doctor doesn't know enough. So then what you're going to do is that when he's not listening to her and he's not listening to you, you're going to say, can you chart that? You either say, can you chart that I requested this or that I asked about this and you gave me no answer. The minute you ask them to put it in writing, they're going to start listening. So you're going to either say, can you chart that? Or you're going to say, what's your differential diagnosis? Which means if it's not this, and what would you do? Not just saying it's anxiety, not just saying it's old age. What would you do? Or you're going to say, if she was a man, what would you do? That's the asshole question. But ask him to chart it. When I was working with a doctor, I had a patient who was postpartum and she was tacking along, like sitting in her bed, her heart rate was like 135. And I was like, yeah, so her heart rate's kind of high. You might want to, and she's just like sitting there. She hasn't been moving or getting up or doing anything. He's like, oh, she's compensating. Like, yes, compensating for blood loss by increased heart rate, which means her heart's not resting, which means that's like not okay. And he's like, so I was like, okay, so I'm just going to chart that I called you, that I notified you, and that I received no orders. And immediately he was like, why don't you bolus her? I'm like, great, thank you so much. So if you like, just kind of put it in a way of like, just write that down for me, okay? That I notified you, that we've been asking. This is now the 3rd time we've asked. Please make that chart. Let me see that you've charted it. And they're a little quicker to do it. Now, I know that Europe is not as litigious as the United States is, but charting is still important. She had polio as a child and went on to have 4 children and worked full-time and mostly alone parent. Is she being a medic are probably least likely to go for treatment? I am. Yeah, I'm really one of the worst people to go for treatment. All right. Okay, so Regine, what's your question? Okay, sorry. This week was better, way less anxiety. Yay! Lots of self-care. Yay. Oh, you know what's interesting is I sent out, and it sort of looks at, did you read the email today in the card reading? I actually feel like immediately they like were like, that's what she needs to do this week. It's just like spending that time being quiet alone with your thoughts and not judging them, being okay with it. That's really important for you, is learning to not judge who you are as a person. A lot of your anxiety can come from just the constant inner dialogue of criticism, the critic that never gives you a break. Like they're kind of saying like, you'll never get very far being incredibly critical of yourself. You'll move a lot faster through this life and do a lot better if you just give yourself some grace. Because giving yourself grace doesn't mean like, oh, it's fine if I'm totally imperfect. Like, I don't have to do anything. I'm a total lazy piece of crap. It just means like, and when you make a mistake, that's okay. And when it's not perfect, that's okay. I have a hard time the way my brain works. It's like, it's very black and white thinking in many aspects where it takes a lot for me to go, oh, wait, that's kind of silly. Like, I'm probably going to start doing a little bit more social media on Instagram, like posting a little bit there and doing some stuff again, because my justice-oriented brain is like, fuck Mark Zuckerberg. Like, I'm not giving him any money, but it's harming myself by being that justice oriented. So it feels like just being kind to yourself and being gentle with yourself through your process of that. I also feel like you should be looking at real estate this week. So looking at, like, really getting back into looking at stuff again this week. So it's more of the quiet, more of the meditation, more of the sort of like getting comfortable with like not needing, like being comfortable with your own thoughts, right? And like learning to go, oh, like those ones I don't have to listen to. I don't have to listen to that guy there. And then also looking at real estate. Did you just like 2 days ago have an issue with your dad? I feel like 2 days ago you had a disagreement with him, and I feel like maybe you haven't talked to him. And then I think my feeling is the way make me feel is dementia with because of his drinking. He's starting to have some issues with his brain. I just feel like something might come up with him this week, health wise. Excuse me, God. Y'all, I always yawn when I'm sitting in this chair. I don't know. Did you like set a boundary, a firm boundary with him? Oh, you can see it through here. I got your payment, Julia. Yeah, I just feel like there's something around that. So I'm not sure, but he just kind of popped in. You're very welcome. Thank you for always supporting me. Same thing with you, Allie. All right. Mallory, what's your question? Sure, I'll check. He's giving you a little bit of a hard time and teasing you. So I feel like it's like he says when she's really happy, she hasn't been bugging me as much. So I do feel like there was a bump in the road with you and the gentleman. He's just giving you a hard time that you're not as talkative until something's wrong. But he's saying it lovingly, not like, ugh, it's just being silly. He wants you to be happy, of course, because he's like, of course I want to be happy. Like, he likes the way. So what you can't see as a human is the way your soul shines, and he likes to see the way you shine. Did your dog just like make a noise at you, like a or at the door or something, like a little, not a full bark, but like a little grubble under his, um, hmm, maybe it was him doing it. Would Tony make like a little like hug you and make almost like a little, I don't want to say growl, but like I don't know how to say it. Like as he'd like hug you from behind and like squeeze you and he'd kind of nuzzle his head in here. Because I didn't know if he was like, oh, you doing this with the dog or is that him? I know he's not a new guy now because he's been with you for a little bit longer, but what's his name again? I just keep feeling around this guy like the way Tony's making you feel is like he's somehow dimming your light a little bit. Like Ryan, is he dimming? Is something going on with him where I just feel like he's not. I don't feel like it's real bad. I just feel like there's something where I just maybe there's doubts or there's questions around it or I don't know. Yeah, that's the feeling I get. It's just like I don't feel like it's really big things. I feel like it's the little things, like where it makes you question yourself or question not your value and worth, but just like not feel as good about yourself as you should. I'm going to say this, it's not fair. However, we learn through comparing and contrasting things. Like that's how we learn like what's good and what's not good. And if someone's not making you feel good, I just feel like it's worth addressing and seeing how they respond. You can't make somebody behave a certain way, but like certainly if you really love somebody, like I know that if my daughter says to me, like, that really hurts my feelings when you do that, will you please don't do that? Absolutely. Because I would never, ever, like, ever want to hurt her feelings, like all three of them. I would never want to hurt their feelings. I would never want to do anything that makes them feel that to know that this is not a safe space. Um, it's like one of my daughters had an issue with a friend, and I said, when you ask them for an apology, and they were like, no, that's not why the problem is, and they totally dismissed it. It's like that tells you a lot about how somebody feels about you if they're not willing to just apologize. Because, like, if they really love you, if it's healthy love, you don't have to like say, I'm guilty of all the things in the world without just saying, like, I'm really sorry I hurt your feelings or I embarrassed you. It certainly wasn't my intent, whatever it is. And so it just feels a little bit like maybe you're gaslighting yourself, or maybe he said something to say, like, don't compare me to Tony. I'm not Tony. Well, certainly he's not Tony. But it's not about comparison so much more as like, but I know it's possible to be treated this way in a relationship, and I know I'm worthy and deserving of that. And so I'm not willing to settle for less than that at this point. I know personally I've settled for a lot more than I should for various reasons. just in life in general. And I'm starting to really look at that. Like, why would I like not deserve more or whatever? Like, I don't know. That's been my journey for a couple of years now. Just really looking at like, that's interesting. Why would I settle for less here? And like, what does it look like if I don't? What if, what if it means there's no friends? Well, that's okay. I kind of like my own company, so I'm okay with that. Like, what if it means, no, I'm saying no friends, but you know what I'm saying. So it's okay to compare because it's like, oh, this feels good, that doesn't feel good. But it's not like you're saying like you have to be this way. It's just like, oh, I don't really like being treated that way. And if if like that's the way you want to keep behaving, that's okay. But like maybe we don't need to be together. Because I promise you, uh, being single is like a lot better than being in a really unhappy connection with somebody. Just so that like, and minimizing yourself. And there's lots of reasons we do that. And there's lots of reasons you stay in relationships. But if you're financially able, and which I believe you are, it's always better to preserve your peace. Your peace is more valuable than you could ever imagine. Sometimes you think you'd be totally fine all day by yourself again. Well, I think you should take note of that. Because if you're thinking that way, that's like the little universal little nudges of things. And there may be some guilt involved of like, well, he moved all the way out here and all that. Then you need to just stop that because he's a whole grown. This is like another lesson of like they are a whole grown human being. And choices were made by him. And he can take accountability for that. You didn't drag him. You didn't put a hood over his head and tie him up and throw him in the trunk of your car and say, you're coming with me. Like, those were choices he made. And I just think that healthy love means that it's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. And relationships are about learning your own likes, dislikes, or whatever, but it becomes a dance. And is he willing to like, dance with you, or is he fighting and trying to do something else and say like, come on, let's go do that? Hi, James. So they're $12 a reading, and then I donate 30% of the money to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and I have the link for payment above. You're very welcome, Mallory. Okay. Katrina, you're up. And the list is just based on who made payments when. And then after we're done with personal readings, I switch over to doing like world event pop culture type readings where that's not paid. You get to just ask the questions you want and I'll answer them. That's okay, Julia. I think Katrina, Katrina, what is your question? Just leave it there, Julia. I'll get it. Will the project that I'm leading go well? So immediately heard yeah, but I still feel like there's like a so I heard this is like weird. I'm not 100% certain. So I saw like a rock on a stack of papers, like a rock paperweight. So I feel like it might kind of go into a holding space for a little bit. Like not get launched as soon as it's planned for whatever reason, but it will move because it's still like at the top of the stack. It just feels like it's weighted down for a little bit, if so to speak. Okay, Heidi. Can you understand why that might be? Something about 3 months time. So I don't know if it's like a 3-month delay or it gets or if it gets launched in 3 months. That's lots. Oh, there's lots of roadblocks. Feels like I have to jump through lots of hoops. Yeah. It literally was like a rock stuck on a pile of so it may be like a 3-month delay. I literally have no understanding of what this means, but something about mac and cheese. I don't know what that means. Like, I saw like a Kraft mac and cheese box. I don't know why. Maybe you have to craft it together. I don't know. That was weird. Sorry. It's supposed to be launched at this end of this month. I feel like it would be more like 3 months from now. I don't know. Like some other delay. And I actually feel like it's not the project that's bad that gets delayed. It feels like needing to readjust what gets launched first or needing to readjust something. Maybe it's a 3-week delay. I'll go as early as 3 weeks. Which sounds like a big thing, but it's like if I get 3, but 3 months is my initial go-to. You were looking at goldfish cracker recipes with crackers. Oh, I don't know. Again, it just feels like something else has to go first or something else. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It just feels like another project has to go first or another something has to take precedence over it. All right, so then I have Julia and Heidi. See dupes. You're very welcome, Katrina. Thank you for supporting me. My gigantic water. It's really so I don't have to keep refilling it and forgetting how much I've had to drink. Because I actually do a lot better when I drink more. Anyway, okay. Julia, let me see your question. Hang on. Levi doesn't seem to want to go out on his own on trail rides around our fields and roads at home. So he prefer to go out with Briggs and Woody. He prefers to have his buddies with him, his horses with him, his other horse buddies with him. Is Levi speckled or spotted or like a painted style? I just keep seeing spots of colors. No point in pushing him if he's not happy. Is he like I keep seeing like a spotted horse. Let me see if I can connect with him. I almost feel like there's like do you have him shoed? I almost feel like there might be a pebble in one of his shoes. I would put it as back left shoe, like his back left leg, foot, hoof. He wears boots. Oh, okay. He's gray with specks of chestnut. Okay. Is he like a light gray? Or maybe they don't see gray. Maybe they see it as white. I don't know. He thinks he's very beautiful, first of all. I feel like there is something like either in his boot then that he would wear on his left foot. I just felt like there's something there that makes it uncomfortable, or he doesn't like I'm getting the idea of like a little rock. So maybe on the way you're trying to take him, there's more little rocks, but he doesn't like those. He's sore on his back left leg, but not obvious. I feel like there's like a little rock there or something like, do you have a farrier to come out and look at him? Also, the only reason I know about these things is because of horse stock. I just I keep getting that. And I also feel like there's something with his, like a sensitivity on his like front tooth. Or maybe he likes to do this with his teeth. He gets a little bit of TMJ here. He gets a little tight here, and he's a little tight here on his right front shoulder. He's struggling. Oh, okay. There is a sound that he gets on the other walk that he doesn't get on the walk with the other two that you said when he goes out. It's the way the wind blows is the feeling I get, like the wind blowing in a weird way that it irritates his ears, or it creates a whistle that he doesn't like. He just had teeth done and lots of ulcers in his mouth. Okay, because I feel like there's something about my front area here that's uncomfortable. Did they mention his jaws being really tight in this joints here, like TMJ? It's past the woods. Yeah, it's like with the way the wind, he doesn't like that. It makes him uncomfortable. So like if he brought his friends, that's why he feels a little more safe, but on his own, because he feels like he has to protect you. And I don't feel like he's like an alpha type horse. I just feel like he feels like you're little, and so he has to protect you. Like it's his job because you're little. And so he feels like that's with those noises, he's not sure of what they are. There's also a smell he gets. It feels like a smell of like, I should be like cautious. He doesn't know what the smell is, so I can't figure out what it is, but it's a smell where I feel like I shouldn't go. Like there's resistance to that. Where again, if I was in numbers, I'd feel a little safer, but I still smell that. I don't like that smell. Another one of your horses is alpha. It's like a dark color. Do you have an all chestnut or an all really dark horse? I feel like that's the one that's like the boss, the one that kind of makes me feel like that one. He's good with knowing that stuff. He would be like if you had an army, he would be the sergeant or captain or whatever, the guy in charge. He likes kisses. I actually think he likes to nap with his head on your lap or like on you. He feels a really nice connection to you, like energetically. And he likes to nap with you because there's a vibration or a buzz that he likes that's soothing. It's funny, he made me breathe like that. Like it's like I can just release. Woody, I think the Palomino one, he's brave. He does that breathing, yeah. Is Levi older? Is he like 20 or something? I just felt older. I feel like I'm older. I like to go to sleep early. He likes his routines. He's making me feel like an old man, like not crabby or anything, but just like I like my routines. I like to go to bed early. like I like my routines. Oh, he's 6. He feels older to me because he's like makes me feel like I like my routines. He's an old soul. So I would say check his foot is like the big thing. If you've done his teeth, you know his teeth. It feels like, and his jaw. I feel like he just needs like some massaging or gua sha here on his jaws. Whatever you do, like just to like help relax that. I actually feel like did they look at his jaw itself, like and look at the alignment? Is his alignment slightly off? I feel like that's what's causing the ulcers. Um, do they do like a betadine wash in his mouth? Because I feel like I don't like that taste. Like it makes my mouth feel weird. Sure, Nicole, you can still donate. No, they didn't, as they had to sedate him. There's a taste in his mouth. He didn't like the way it is, but is his jaw out of alignment? I just feel like there's something brewing in that left foot. I keep going back to it. It's like he showed me a little pebble, underneath like a little small rock, like caught underneath his like what would be like at the tip of his thing, and then I just keep seeing like there might be like a little tiny abscess or something going on there. The vet's checking him again. It might be just a slight misalignment. I just felt real tight here. So he's happy though. He's kind of a homebody too. He just likes his routine. He likes his happy place. It's like I just don't need a lot. It's very sweet. Okay. That's it. I would like to meet him. One day, if I'm there, I'll come and say, "Can I please meet your horses?" Who cares about meeting you? I'm kidding. That's everything. So yeah, I think it's like a combination of things. I don't think it's just like really that's it's like the wind or something the way it. Okay. So I've got, where's my list? Where's my list? Heidi. And then is there anybody else after Heidi? Nicole. All right. Heidi, what's your question? Let's see. still need to walk on the treadmill and get my steps in today. We did not do a lot of walking, which is a lot of sitting. We first got there, it was super sunny, and there's like a Five Below down the way where we were selling. I was like, go get sunglasses. So I'm trying to like teach my 12-year-old like more independence. She's small for her age. She just got her first phone. She's like the last one of her friends to get one. It's not because I'm a meanie pants. I just was like, you're doing fine without one. But then she wanted to go to something and she was reticent. She's like, if I have my phone, I feel a little more comfortable. I was like, okay, I'll do that. Well, she went with her friend and her friend's mom to go to a play, but the friend's mom was going to be volunteering. So I brought her phone. Anyway, so today I was like, why don't you walk down to Five Below? I'll give you some money. You can go get it. So I was like, okay, Heidi. I had a first date yesterday with someone. Can you give me their first name? I like for a while, and I'm excited to explore the connections. He is still navigating the aftermath of a long and complicated breakup and said he waited a long time before asking me out. Am I a mistake by getting involved, or could this be worth it? Aria. Okay. I feel like he has anxiety. I feel like he second guesses himself a lot. I don't feel like you're the first person he's dated, but I don't think he considered anything else very seriously. Definitely feels like taking things slow. I heard he's handsome, but I also feel like, is he an accountant? He's very type A personality. Maybe that's why I'm getting accountant. Like very type A. I'm hearing the breakup was not as complicated as he says. Uh, I do feel like there was like it wasn't a solid break. It was like get back together, break up, get back together, break up, get back together. But it's not complicated. It's more people not knowing what they want, and I feel like he says she's really emotional. Um, and while I feel like she doesn't know how to process her emotions well, I also feel like it's sort of dismissive in a way because I feel like he is uncomfortable with emotions. Very detail oriented. Okay, so that's why I'm seeing it. Like I just feel like I'm very type A. I'm very check everything. You're still living together until the lease is up. That's probably the get together. I would say, is the lease up in September? I would say be very slow and very cautious. Because it's just the feeling of I don't feel like everything is the way he says it is. And I don't think he's lying. I think it's his perspective and his own inability to totally process everything. September, October-ish. Yeah. I personally, being where I'm at, like in life, not like, just being like my age and some of the stuff. When I was younger, I would have been like, oh, it's fine. I'll just date him, like whatever. I would just be very guarded if I were you. Like knowing what I know now, I feel like I would be like, we can hang out, but it's not going anywhere until you're not living with her anymore. Because there's something about it where I feel like he's not being really fully transparent about it. I just feel like he's not being fully transparent, and I I don't think he's portraying, I think he's portraying things to obviously to put himself in the best light. I don't think he's a bad guy. I want to say that. Like, I don't think, oh, he's, I just feel like everything is perspective, right? And so the relationship is going one way and she's behaving one way from his perspective. And from her perspective, it'd be totally different. And from an outsider's perspective, it'd be totally different. And then reality would totally be different, right? And it's just the feeling of, I don't think he's calling her crazy, but I feel like the language around it is sort of diminishing of what's really going on and where her feelings are at. And that it would be worth being extremely cautious. Not because I think he's going to do anything bad to you, but more about protecting your own feelings and your own sanity. Good night, Rothka. Sweet dreams. He gave the impression that she is mentally unstable. That didn't call her crazy. Yeah. And I gotta say, I don't know that that's really the case, because I'm gonna say this. If someone really is mentally unstable, you don't stay living with them. You break your lease. You find a way and you break it and you be done with it. Or you find a way and you move out and you keep paying rent and you live on somebody's couch if you really need to. So when people say things like, I've heard people say like, oh, my ex was really crazy. And then I was like, well, how was she really crazy? And they could never give me a specific example. When I say my family member is really nutty, when there's like some stuff off, when I say that, I have a laundry list of specific examples that I can give you. And then people are like, oh, you mean like crazy? I'm like, like very mentally unwell. So I'm reticent. So I would ask him, well, what does that mean? What did she do? Explain it to me. I don't know. I just feel like be very cautious, like go very slow, and also be willing to like ruffle some feathers when you're dating. Be willing to like set a boundary, be willing to like demand certain things. Like not like you have to do this or whatever, but like kind of like, well, what do you mean by that? Why, how is she crazy? How is she unstable? Because it's this feeling of him saying like, she gets so emotional. She gets so, it's like so unreasonable, but like really it's probably not unreasonable. And most people in that position would be so frustrated and fed up, they would behave the same. I don't know. I don't know that he's your forever person. I'm going to definitely say that. I don't feel like he's your forever person. But I feel like it's a really important lesson for you to learn. And maybe it's that you've really learned to start setting boundaries. And this is like the test to be like, are you really comfortable with setting these boundaries? And recognizing that sometimes that means that person's not for you. Makika and I was thinking about you earlier today and thought, I haven't seen him in a while. How are you? Glad to hear it. You feel like it's a lesson too. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like I was talking to my daughter about like learning with relationships and friendships and stuff. And I was like, all relationships are meant for us to learn from in some way or another. And so, like, there's nothing like whether they're superficial relationships or whatever, it's like to learn, right? Number one, I think boundaries are such an important lesson in this lifetime. Maybe for me, I don't know. And learning to love yourself, and like through learning to love yourself, like really like, and unconditionally means like, I know I'm imperfect. Doesn't mean I know I'm perfect and everything else. It's like, I know I'm imperfect and yet I'm still lovable. And like when you move through life that way, I'm like doing it with grace and like giving yourself space to be imperfect. You end up being able to love others differently too. And like, you don't have to be mean to somebody just because you don't want to be in relationship with them. And some connections are just meant to be lessons. They're not really meant to be long-term things. And that's okay too. All right, Miss Nicole, what's your question? Hi, Kiki Law. How are you? Do you know what Howie's purpose was in my or my dad's life with both being sick? Will he always be around? Let me put my rock in my pocket. Oh, this is interesting. Because I got that it's more about the healing it's not about what he did for you and your dad. It was actually what that relationship did for him and the healing that it allowed him. My sense is that he just needed a really gentle and kind connection that was done without expectation. I don't feel like he had a lot of that. And that's what he needed. When you say always around, did he pass? I don't feel him as like, I will say this. I can't always tell when someone's dead or not. I know that sounds weird. And I don't think always around, but popping in and out. And more for your dad than you. He's still going through chemo. So I feel like he'll be popping more in and out of your dad's life, not yours. And I feel like their relationship was more healing for him than your dad. I feel like your dad needed companionship, like a friend, a buddy. But I feel like it's more healing for your dad than him, if that makes sense. Like on a very deep soul level. He's also stage 4. He's different, but bad stage. He's been sick for years. Yeah. I'm not going to predict time, but I'm going to leave it at that then. Okay. Do you guys want to do some general questions? Like world event ones. Otherwise, I'm gonna change and go walk on the treadmill for a little bit. My mom's here, right? And she was like, last night I was walking. She's like, "You been down here the whole time?" I walked for a little over an hour, and I was like, "Yeah, I like put a show on my iPad and I just like watch while I call it lazy walking, like 2.5 miles an hour. Seriously, lazy walking." You're very welcome, Nicole. Oh, thank you. I read your response and then I just didn't get a chance to because I got back from we were like cleaning up and I was answering it while we were there and then I just didn't get a chance to respond to you. Do you want me to respond to it now? I can do that. Or I can email you, whatever is easier. It doesn't matter. Okay. Then I'll respond later. Does anybody have any general questions they want to ask? Excuse me. No, no one cares about what's going on in the world. Will the tariffs get worse? Okay, so I know there's a lot of doom and gloom. Like people are like, we're going to go into a depression. Like I listen to other readers. I'm like, I don't feel that. Like I don't feel we're ever going to be worse than what 2008 was. And I also feel like, the tariffs aren't going to get worse. Like if you notice, and I said this before, if you notice like everything is like, I said 2 months, like they would be back off of them. I think it was like 2 days. So see how my twos kind of get messed up, my numbers get kind of messed up. There's a guy I did a reading for. I know my one of my husband's friends. He's like, when am I gonna get a job? I was like, I don't know, like 5 weeks or five. I don't know if I've seen five. It was 5 days. 5 days. Sometimes it's a little off. So I'm sorry. And I usually err on the caution of going further out than I would feel than earlier. So he even already said like, well, I'm not gonna put tariffs on phones and electronics. Like, because some billionaire called him up, Apple, and was like, you can't do this. People won't buy my phones. And also probably Gates. So like, I think my feeling is like a lot of this is like really done to scare people. And that the tariffs also include electronic parts for cars. So just remember that. So, I mean, are not included because that's what I would expect electronics. So more stuff is going to come off. He is definitely somebody who is constantly having to backtrack over his mistakes. And I want to say this too, and as much as we're like, oh, all these countries are going to take over and we're going to be just left in the dust, blah, 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 blah. No, I want you to remember that what they're doing is treating him like the toddler he is and going, no, we're going to let you sit in timeout over there for a while. And the minute we get a grown up back in office and all these yahoos out of there, business will go back to usual. Unfortunately, yes, it's going to harm some people along the way. But we will be able to regroup. He's just an asshole. He's got an issue with a swallow. I feel like he has like a constant post-nasal drip. Constant. Ugh. Anyway. So, I mean, it's not that I'm like being like, oh well, don't do anything about it. Don't protest, don't call your people. I have to tell you one thing I'm extremely disappointed in is like, and this is why I feel like it'll end up being to their detriment because the Democrats still haven't figured this out. You cannot, like, this is a lot. I feel like that they're yelling at me right now. Like this is what Pluto and Aquarius is. Let me get to what I'm talking about. Things not being able to be done the same way it used to be done before. So like Cory Booker and I think Kamala, I heard her now trying to fundraise again. It's like the wrong way to go about this right now. They're like, this is not the time to ask for money. What AOC and Bernie are doing, along with some of the other politicians like Beto O'Rourke and even Jasmine Crockett, the way she's operating, they're just listening to people and they're just saying the things that need to be said. And they're not sending out requests for donations. You can't do it the way Cory's doing it. And like, great, Cory started to stand up a little bit, but he hasn't gone out and like, he did one day, I think, of like going out to listen to people, but he's like already asking for money. It's like, it's not the time to ask the American people for money. You'll still be able to raise a lot of money, grassroots rise a little bit later, a little closer to other elections, but not the time, dude. Not the time. So I still think maybe there's going to be a third party. I don't know. Mm. 2026, we're going to start seeing some change and some movement. I heard, and I don't know if it's true, I didn't get a chance to look at it. Apparently, they're going to investigate Marjorie Taylor Greene for insider trading. I did not know this, but apparently she started before she was in held office as a congressional person. Her net worth was like $700,000, and now it's $22 million. So, do you think the health benefits for people with severe disabilities will be impacted? Hang on. What do I see happening? Oh wait, Jasmine is my girl. I love her. My mom loves her. My mom's like, she's just like, she goes, she reminds me of the McDade people. That's like a school she taught at in Houston, which I believe is no longer open. She's like, she just speaks her mind. She just says what she says. So, and what do I see happening at the housing market in Toronto? I don't see a crash, but I just see it being like stalled out or really hard to get into places. Like there's just not a lot of movement. There's something about January. So I don't know if it's like until January, like of 2026. Do you think the health benefits for people with severe disabilities will be impacted? So I believe initially they will. And then again, this will be more protesting, and it will be reverted back. So, that's how I feel. It's like it gets changed back. There's a lot of like, I feel like he and other people in the administration like to make changes, and then they realize like, oh no, I'm not popular and people don't love me anymore. And so they're like, oh, we want to backtrack and do it differently. Like everything is done based on like, will people love me and praise me? Right. So I feel like it may be initially and then it gets backtracked. Well, it totally is, but like also they have all of their behavior has said, this is who I am. This is how I behave. This is what I do. And I don't know if it's just a case of a lot of people never like seeing people for who they are or what. I mean, I sometimes don't judge. Like I sometimes am, I should say, not, I'm a harsh judge, but sometimes I see the potential in people. And so I give them the benefit of the doubt for the potential rather than what they're showing me. I'm not as naive about it as I have been in the past, but I still miss it for some people. Like I want to be supportive and excited, so I'll borrow, pay for your services. And then it turns out like you're maybe, I don't know, you've done the same in your relationship. So I get, yeah. So I'm trying to give I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And then there's just some people who voted for him that are just not good people, that are just, they really want everybody in the world to look like them and sound like them and walk like them and talk like them. And if they don't, then either with them or like that's how they believe, I was going to look something up. I just couldn't remember what I was going to look up. Oh well. I mean, he does. And the problem is that people in Hollywood decided to elevate him and make him look like an amazing businessman when he has always been a grifter and a con artist. Like before The Apprentice came out, he was working in construction. My father-in-law worked in construction with him, and he said, like, he told me some stories because they would be at some of the same parties and stuff together. And my father-in-law said what a slime ball he was. And my husband has told me stories too about subcontractors he's worked with that have, where almost lost their businesses because he didn't pay out his contracts. So unfortunately, if all of that, if it had been, there's, social media is a blessing and a curse because we can find out a lot more about people. And like a lot of people are finding out who other people are. You're going to see like a lot of people saying, like celebrities, like, oh, I'm so disappointed. It's like, nobody's perfect. And I think the one thing you can take out of this, like, no one is perfect. People are full of flaws. And also some information that comes out is not true. And some is. And so you have to learn to discern patterns of behavior, etc. We watched a clip from where Trump did not shake hands with RFK's wife at a UFC concert. Literally heard he's a dick. It's weird. I don't know if I almost feel like she doesn't like him. So I don't know if she said she was a germaphobe or what. She just didn't want to shake his hand. I feel like she made a comment at a point, and so it was already agreed. Or she made a comment to him. There's something where it's like, I almost feel like she said something to him that rubbed him the wrong way at some point, and so it's like he's better than her. He won't acknowledge her now. There's something weird with it like that. I don't know. Oh, UFC fight. You can tell I don't watch things like that. I didn't even catch that it was. I really think she doesn't like the way he smells. I have to tell you. I also almost feel like she doesn't believe the same things he does. Who's she's an actress, right? Cheryl Hines, is that who it is? Is that? I don't know. It's like, it's like, it's not, I don't know exactly. It's just a feeling of like, one, I don't think she likes the way he smells, but I feel like something was said and it just, either that she's like a germaphobe and doesn't like to shake hands or something. I don't know exactly what that is. Apparently he smells like poopy pants. So I don't know. That guy, what's his name? Neil Kessler. Apparently he has issues with incontinence. I don't know of urine, but of bowel. So I don't know. Yeah. And I know I've had in the past. I don't know that any of these people still follow me. Oh well. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna get to that health reading on him. I promise. I will. I just really don't want to read it. So, any other questions? I'm not sure I'm going to be back next week because it is Easter Sunday. Not that we go to church because, hello, it's me. But some of y'all won't be here because some of y'all do go. or do fun little things with your family, whatever. So, but I'll still send out my email with a little card reading if y'all enjoy that. Do y'all enjoy that? I can't, I mean, I don't know. I just see that some people open it, some people don't. Like I get percentage rates of opening. Um, I'm trying to get myself in, like, I've been listening to hypnosis things for motivation, like for real, to get myself like going to do stuff, do more stuff. It's actually working, believe it or not. Well, so yeah, I do. I'm like, I put them on, I just found them on Spotify for hypnosis things. And I just put them on before I go to sleep. Or if I take like a 20-minute nap. I found this guy who does like hypnosis ones, and I feel like it's like perfect because he's got ones that are like 14 minutes long. And they're different than affirmations. I don't know. You like tarot also. I'm trying to go through. So what I'm doing on them is like I've got different decks. So I'm just going through all my different decks and doing it that way. So I'll start doing more. I'm just trying to go through different decks and just, you know, give the variety right now. So, all right. I think there's no more questions. So I'm going to say I will see y'all in 2 weeks. Does that sound good? Is that fair? And I hope that you have, if you really want, email me and I'll do, like, if I get enough emails or whatever, messages or comments on here after this is over, if you want one, maybe we'll find another day. Maybe I'll do like the Monday after or something like that. But let me know if you don't want to wait the 2 weeks. And I will see y'all then. Okay.